Well, while many of you are enjoying your Memorial Day off, some political candidates in our state are gearing up for their final push ahead of the primary election. It's just 1 week from tomorrow. Griffin Rushton's here with a look at some of the more heated races, Griffin, that we're keeping a close eye on at this point.
Yeah, well, as most of you know, the primaries are just the first hurdle for many candidates. They have to secure their own party's nomination before they can move on to the general election in November. But for some reason, it's win the primary and you've essentially won the race, especially for Democrats this year. Yeah,
and we know there are of course, some hotly contested legislative seats up for grabs, but those aren't the only ones that we have our eyes on at that point.
No, they're not. There's actually 4 district attorney races that we're watching pretty closely, and that includes one here in Bernalillo County. Former U.S. Attorney Damon Martinez is looking to unseat current DA Sem Bregman, who was appointed to the position early last year. Now, he pledged not to run for re-election, but changed his mind after a few months on the job, and he's raising a lot of money to keep his job. According to public data, he's leading all candidates in campaign fundraising right now by a long shot, but Martinez is actually number 2 in the state, not far behind him. The first judicial district attorney's race up in Santa Fe is also picking up steam. Former DA Marco Cerna is running to unseat current DA Mary Carmack Altwies, who has drawn attention for prosecutions in the Rust movie set shooting trials, something Cerna specifically told us was a reason he wanted to run for the office. There's a similar theme over in Gallup and McKinley County, where attorney Grant Berkshire is running to unseat the sitting DA Bernadine Martin, who's faced her own concerns before. Our 4 Investigates team looked into Martin's office last year and found it routinely operates with less than half of its budgeted prosecutors. There's just 3 of 9 prosecutor positions filled right now. Berkshire's campaign website says he wants to reform the office by recruiting experienced attorneys. We cannot find a website for Martin's campaign. Now, we'll quickly mention there is a 4-way race for the Democratic nomination for the 3rd Judicial District DA. That's down in Doña Ana County. Current DA Gerald Byers is falling way behind his competitors when it comes to fundraising, but we'll mention fundraising totals are not necessarily an indicator of who will win. However, they can show who's gaining support ahead of the election.
Yeah, so Griffin, it seems like a lot of current DAs are going to be fighting hard to keep their seat.
Yeah, and that's especially at a time when New Mexicans are questioning how effective our justice system is. Of course, a new DA, they can't change state laws, right, but new lawmakers can. And we're going to take a look at one pretty heated legislative race coming up at 6.
Yeah, it just shows how important these more local elections are.
Exactly.
And people really need to get on board because it can, spark some real change that we see.
Exactly.
All right, good stuff, Griffin. Thanks for the break.